is that it is very rare. For doctors in countries such as New Zealand and Australia, it is something that is never seen. Even in the United States, hardly any doctors would be expected to see a case of rabies in their lifetimes either. In fact, the most recent US surveillance report stated that no human rabies cases were reported in the United States during 2019. From 2000 through 2020, a total of 52 human rabies cases were reported in the United States and its territories, representing a mean of 2.5 cases per year. Globally, cases are mostly confined to third world countries, and there are said to be around 50,000 deaths each year. However, the details concerning these cases are often sketchy, and other estimates are half this number or even less. The first symptoms of rabies are often non-specific before neurological complications manifest. These include paralysis, confusion, hallucinations, and insomnia. Hydrophobia, or fear of water, can appear in the later stages, as well as hypersalivation, with the appearance of foaming at the mouth. Before we get into the science of rabies, it is important to differentiate between the existence of a condition versus the claim that it is caused by a virus. There is no doubt that people get sick, and the condition of rabies has an extremely high fatality rate. The problem is that a virus has not been shown to cause rabies. When you want to get the official medico-pharmaceutical industry narrative, a good place to start is with the CDC. When you go to their rabies page, it states that rabies is a fatal but preventable viral disease. It can spread to people and pets if they are bitten or scratched by a rabid animal. We'd better stop there. They've just claimed it is caused by a virus, so we'll see if they can back this up. On their About Rabies page, they describe what they say is the rabies virus, claiming that it is shaped like a bullet with an RNA genome consisting of approximately 12,000 nucleotides. There is also a description of the claimed replication and infection mechanism, but there are no citations. Let's head on over to Wikipedia and the rabies virus page, where it states that rabies virus, scientific name rabies lyssavirus, is a neurotropic virus that causes rabies in humans and animals. And once again, there are no citations for this claim. Under the infection section, it is stated that Joseph Pawan discovered that, quote, infected vampire bats could transmit rabies to humans and other animals. We finally get to a source citation, which is Pawan's 1936 paper, The Transmission of Paralytic Rabies in Trinidad by the Vampire Bat. The paper sets the scene with a fanciful tale where Pawan states, the Encyclopedia Britannica, 1911, quotes Peter Martyr as saying, soon after the conquest of South America by the Spaniards, that in the Isthmus of Darien there were bats which sucked the blood of men and cattle when asleep to such a degree as to even kill them. However, Pawan at least thinks this unlikely, but then introduces his hypothesis that there is some disease transmitted by the bat bites. He then outlines accounts of how the destruction of thousands of dogs failed to stop cases of rabies in some areas. After all this slaughter, he stated, the suspicion was therefore again raised that some flying sylvan animal was responsible for the spread of the epidemic. Ominously, he recounts that previous investigators were also drawn to the unusual phenomenon of bats flying around during the day, shrieking and fighting with one another. However, with regard to the speculation, he reported that the evidence was a tad scant. De Souza, 1926, failed to infect guinea pigs and rabbits by allowing philostoma bats to feed on them, and other investigators having also shown from experimental work on rabbits and guinea pigs that bats are not the transmitting agent. Time to forget about what happens in nature and resort to the rules in order to keep the theory alive. This is the inspiration for his own experimental method, which goes as follows.
All rights reserved. We reserve all rights. The vampire bat and rabies in Trinidad technique. Step 1. The brain and spinal cord of bats and rabbits were removed as soon as possible after death and preserved in sterile glycerine and saline at a temperature of 5 to 10 degrees Celsius until required for